See, that's just really a shame. I'm of the opinion that if you took Twilight Princess and you just sloughed away all of the filler. First thing you do in the game is pick up a sword. Second thing you do in the game is get transformed into a wolf and do like the jumping around Hyrule Castle or whatever. Third thing you do in the game is go directly to the Forest Temple with the monkeys. If that's how the game was structured, if it got you to that Forest Temple inside of even inside of like 2 hours instead of the 7 or 8 it took me, and you still kept in some of the interesting like wolf stuff in there, would have been fine. But that's not how that game is structured, and I really feel like if you just took all that stuff out of it and just left the core stuff with the I think I need hover boots for here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we're fine. If you just kept the dungeons in Twilight Princess and just the overworld exploration without any of the faffing around, without any of the mandatory wolf sections, none of the stupid, oh, now you gotta fight horseback on a bridge, now you gotta chase the kids through the town, now you gotta get the slingshot, now you gotta catch a fish for a cat, it's like, if you got rid of all of that stuff and just kept the dungeons, Twilight Princess would have been a pretty good game, I think. At the end of the day, it was not the dungeon content in Twilight Princess that annoyed me. I'm surprised I was able to finish that sentence without burning my butt. Thank goodness I did. So the next big Zelda game after that, there was some DS ones. I didn't play the one where you get a train. I did play Phantom Hourglass, which was kind of a I've been mentioning you get kind of these off-kilter Zelda sequels. Kind of an off-kilter Zelda sequel to Wind Waker in a lot of ways. And I remember not enjoying that game very much. Really? You're gonna do this to me? This is the level we're playing on here now? You and me, Ocarina of Time? It's gonna be like this, huh? Okay. What I need to do then, since I can't stand there, is go over here. Wait for it to bounce back, and then do this. Perfect. So Phantom Hourglass, like, the dungeons weren't great to start with. Like, the dungeons, it had this movement system where you couldn't move using the D-pad on the DS. You had to use your stylus to move around. And it was alright for what it was. I mean, it controlled fairly well, but because the movement system had to be that simplistic, the dungeon design was made much more simplistic to compensate. So you had these dungeons, you still got to do a lot of cool dungeon things. They were much more, like, for the experience dungeons. More of a spirit temple than a water temple. There was a water temple in that game. It was called the Palace of the Ocean King, or something like that. Shadow we've done. We need to do water next. And you had to do this dungeon like 5 times in a row. I can't remember why now, but you had to keep going back to this dungeon over and over and over again. And every time you went there... Oh, do I need to empty a bottle? Fine. Like, every time you went there, you were able to do new stuff in it, but it just got really tedious and obnoxious. So, like, as a quirky sequel to Wind Waker, I guess the game was okay. I haven't been itching to play it again, and I can't play it again. I don't know what happened to my copy of it. It's gone missing. Probably these treasure boxes here are both just traps, so we're going to ignore them. Blue fire this. I didn't play, I think it was called Spirit Tracks. I didn't play that. I played one of the Oracle games, but I don't remember much about it. I never played like the Four Swords adventure games. I never had much interest in there. What's the goal here? Oh, okay. I think I see what we need to do here. We need to go up top there and melt that. So we need to get some more blue fire, first of all, before we do this timed ice block puzzle. And I didn't play Skyward Sword either. I was so upset with Twilight Princess. On top of everything else, the game had bad motion controls. So when they're like, hey, play our new Zelda game that's even more motion controls, I was like, I'm not gonna, I think. How do I want to push these around? I'm just gonna start pushing things. And then we'll just randomly solve it somehow. And it'll be fine. No, because now it's going to go in the hole, see? See? There is a pot over there. My guess is it has magic in it. But that might just be an abstraction of reality. We need to go here, perhaps? Oh, that's just directly in the hole. Oh, this... Okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, this middle part here isn't a hole to oblivion. It just does that. So now... we could respawn this block. Oh, you know what? Maybe we pushed the wrong block into that hole in the floor. Also, I feel kind of cheated because this part of the final dungeon isn't the Ice Temple Redux. This is like a... or the Water Temple Redux. This is an Ice Cavern Redux. This is what we want right here. Yeah, buddy. This is the good stuff. We won't worry about that pot unless we actually need it. It's going to be a rusty switch. It's going to make me change my hammer one more time. No problem. We'll just put on X for now. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yeah, we're done here. Because we don't need to put a block over here to get up to the door. We can just leave. Get some words of encouragement from my future wife here. My future, waifu, I guess is the term the kids use. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. Once in a while, I get just a real, like, Japanophile weeaboo kind of guy come into my Twitch chat. Doesn't happen a lot because I don't play a lot of, like, really anime-ish games, but... and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Like, some people just really like anime. It's whatever, it's fine. Like, I make fun of anime all the time, but that's just me. But really pleasant dude. He was real chatty. We enjoyed his company for a minute. But then he asks me, and it was so sincere, like he could not have been joking. Because, I mean, he talked about it like, hey, have you seen this anime? Have you played this anime game? Like, it was very, very... he had a lot of anime questions. And I kept telling him, like, I haven't really heard of that. You know, I'm not really big on the anime. Or... but then he asked me just 100% sincere. I do not believe the guy was trolling or putting on a joke or anything. 100% sincere. He asks if I have a waifu. And I know. Like, he's asking... I know the question he's asking, because I see a lot of streamers, they put, like, an anime girl or something on their Twitch layout. And it's like, oh, that's my waifu. Which, as the kids say... wait a minute, what am I missing here? Oh, I see it up there. Do you see it up there? We gotta light all the torches, not just these 4. So we start with Din's fire. And then get this one. Aha! But yeah, like, it's just... if you're a big anime guy, and you play a lot of anime games, you put your little anime girl that you like, you know, on the... Wait a minute. This seems like a Lens of Truth situation. I don't have that on my layout. Oh, wait. I know what to do here. Here we go. We're going to block a time this. See, he came into my chat and he didn't see my anime girl on my layout because I don't have one. Because he had to ask, like, who's your waifu? I'm like, well, like, I have an actual waifu named Peanut. She would probably be very upset if that was just bad all around, what I did there. I just need to apologize for that. I don't know that I like you there, mister. Oh, but it was so funny. Hey, who's your waifu? Like, my wife is. I'm sorry that... I mean, part of it's that I'm married, right? Yeah, like, part of it's like, I have an actual wife, like, a real person that I'm married to. But part of it was like, dude, I'm a 36-year-old man. Like, I know that I'm playing the Nintendo tapes on Twitch.tv, but, like, I'm a grown-up. I don't have a fictional character as my waifu, sorry. But I didn't want to be, like, that dismissive about it, because it's a sincere question from I say a kid. I mean, he had to have been in his late teens or 20s, I would expect. Most of these streamers that I see that have the waifus are of that age group. But yeah, that's just part of the anime culture that whoop, went right over my head. I did not pick a waifu. And I haven't given it much thought either. Like, if I was gonna have a waifu, like, who would it be? I have no idea. Like, it would not occur to me just to put a random anime girl on my stream layout, you know? So I haven't really given it a lot of thought. The closest thing I have to a waifu, I guess, would be Lightning from Final Fantasy 13, because when I bought Final Fantasy 13, I downloaded a PS3 back. You know how you can set your wallpaper on your PlayStation? I don't know if you still can. I guess you can on the PS4. I just haven't bothered. But yeah, I have a picture of Lightning as my backdrop, and it's just been that ever since. And I think before that it was Solid Snake from Metal Gear. Like, just a picture of him just being old and mustached in Metal Gear Solid 4. So the closest thing I have to a waifu is when I'm switching PlayStation games on PS3, and you guys get to see Lightning briefly. Oh, this ominous music, though, means we're getting there, guys. It means we are getting there. I'm just gonna hack these guys to death. Look at that. I wasn't even paying attention to my health. Quarter heart worth of damage. That's it. That's all they had. That's all the game those lizard folk had. It's sad is what it is. What is this world coming to when a couple of lizard folk can't take down one Hyrule kid? I've had much better luck with poking these guys to death than actually waiting for their attack. We kind of got sidetracked about anime and waifus and things. Weird, but my point was that one of the reasons that Ocarina is still so special to me is because at that point in my life, it was an enormous game, just a huge, huge game that I spent a lot of time with, that I was able to really dissect, really pick apart, and it took a long time. Woo! Okay, okay. And nowadays, and this is going to show my age, like the whippersnappers nowadays don't know what good games are, but no, there really is a difference in design philosophy of video games now than there was in 1998. I don't think it's unnatural to point that out. It does seem as though to make a big game nowadays, if you want to make a game that you can sell people on, hey, this is going to take 100 hours, it really is the quantity of stuff in your game. Hey, you can turn into a wolf and you gotta go collect bugs and you gotta go get the slingshot and there's 7 hours before you make it to the first dungeon and there's 7 dungeons and there's 100 different kinds of items and like 4 different kinds of arrows. Like, that's just Twilight Princess, not even getting into Breath of the Wild. Ocarina of Time was from a period in video game history where the design philosophy was more about, instead of just being a big game, instead of just being the quantity of stuff, it was a dense game. It was about the depth of the stuff. It was about making you want to really look in every nook and cranny of the world, not because you were filling out some checklist of stuff, but because you were legitimately actually finding new things about the game and the mechanics and the lore everywhere you looked, every time you looked. That was my experience with Ocarina of Time back in the day. And it does seem like every time I play it, I learn a little something new about it. Probably this playthrough is the first time where that hasn't happened. I can't remember a moment in this playthrough where I learned something genuinely new about the game. Worst game ever, F-, overrated. But I do know that when people gush about games that they love, even while they're playing the games that they love, they do have a tendency to get a little hyperbolic. And I am absolutely guilty of that. There's no question. I went to the gear screen to put my hover boots on. You don't need to do that anymore. I'm gonna put on my blue clothes though, just because they're the best. I want to get over here and get ready to knock his stuff back. And I know it's time to swing the sword up. I swung a little too early there. Once this ball of light passes, like, just beyond the tip of my Bigaron blade. If I'm standing in the right spot. We're gonna do this for how long? I mean, this is supposed to lead to something, right? I guess I didn't need the... Usually I use the hover boots there, but I forgot to use them, and I guess it ended up not mattering. That's fine. Everything's fine. We are going to play tennis for a little while, though. Apparently tennis is a thing that we need to do for way too long. Wow, that was it. 2 cycles. That could not have gone better. That was pretty much a perfect Ganondorf fight right there. The tennis did drag a little bit. I guess the idea is if you get stuck in a loop, like if you knock back the ball at exactly the same time on every single volley, he knows what you're doing, and he can time it to knock it back. You kind of have to vary it up. Like, maybe hit it with the middle of your sword rather than the tip. Just the tip. That's what Ganondorf said.
Shoutouts to Umbaglow for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.